Welcome to NothingisOB South Texas Golf Podcast, episode number 50. Before we get into our special guest today, a word from my sponsor, Michael A. Aguirre, financial advisor for Capital Strategies, a Mass Mutual firm. During this COVID time, it's super important that you have somebody that you trust, have something set in stone or set for if an accident or if something were to occur. Mike is your guy. You can hit him up on his cell phone at 210-413-2522, or you can hit him up on his website at www.michael-aguirre.com. Now, in this COVID time, he's a really good guy. He will take care of you. He will help you in your retirement. He'll help you get a better financial outlook, and he will do a financial analysis free of charge. So please hit up Michael A. Aguirre. I would truly appreciate his sponsorship of the show. Now on to my special guest. I have Olivia Anderson. She spent all 4 years at Winston Churchill High School on the varsity golf team. The last 2 years, she has spent as captain. She was victorious in the high school tournament for Northside Steel Invitational. Now she is currently working at Fort Sam Houston Golf Course, and she's been there the past 2 years. She's a really good student of one of our former guests, Robert Vasquez, and she's got a great story. And she is headed her way to Queen's University of Charlotte on a golf scholarship. I'm super excited to welcome Olivia Anderson to the show.
Hey.
Hey, thanks for joining us. I appreciate, I really appreciate your time.
No, thank you.
All right. So did I give you a good enough welcome? All right. Intro.
Of course. I feel so honored, honestly.
Well, I'm super thankful to have you on. And I thought it was really important when Robert gave me a call because I have all these pros numbers, right? I have all these pros numbers. And normally it's me bugging them. It's me texting them, me messaging them. Well, Robert texted me one day and he's like, hey, can I give you a call? I'm like, okay, right? So he gave me a call and he said, remember how you were speaking to me about one of my favorite or one of my best students? And I said, yes, why? And then he kind of started to explain to me a little bit about your story. And I said, dang, dude, I think she would be great for the show.
Aw, thanks.
All right, so let's go ahead and get into it. What got you into this game of golf and how early did you start?
Yeah, so golf is a family sport. My dad has his PGA card and everything. He's ran golf courses since before I was even born. My siblings are 10 years older than me. So, when I was in elementary, they were in high school. They were playing golf. And every day I was with them at the golf course while they practiced. I didn't necessarily play golf at that time because I was at the golf course every day and it was kind of annoying. So, but I was definitely there. I was included and, my parents gave me a golf club in my hand, had my own bag. But I really didn't get serious till about 7th or 8th grade. I played 9 years of soccer originally. And, that really nurtured my love for being competitive and just sports in general. And then I actually got injured and then got back into golf, which, was a second love for me. So, yeah.
Well, as a coach, because being a teacher and a coach, like I explained to you the other day, I've been doing this for 15 years. You always want your athletes to be dual or multiple sport athletes. Because I'm sure in soccer, it's people say, or they say it's not a contact sport, but it's really that's all there is. That's all there is.
Oh, yeah.
There's nothing but contact. And so, how does that really help you from being a soccer player for so many years? How does that help you on the course? Or has it?
I mean, it definitely has. Like, I feel like physically, it really helped. Having lower body strength and. It was weird because, I'm going from a sport that you're not using your hands or your arms. And it's like, all right, put a golf club in your hands and swing. But I mean, the golf swing is really all lower and core when it comes to physically. So that was, I already had kind of an advantage in that sense. And then I loved being competitive, and I played forward, and so I was kind of the brains, and I wanted to be the one scoring and making the goals and, getting the credit. And so then going to, kind of a solo sport was kind of challenging in the mental sense. So yeah, but I love both sports, and I've learned a lot from golf, so that's obviously helped me in the long run. So yeah.
Well, why don't you tell everybody just a little bit about what has really golf done for you? Because I know in speaking with Robert and speaking with you, I know you come from a split home currently a split home. And I know from growing up in a single parent home, I think it's really kind of, I feel like I look through certain things from a different lens and a different outlook than other people do. So what do you think this game has really kind of done for you during that time?
I definitely feel like the golf course has become kind of my safe place in the sense, I can just, whatever I'm feeling, whatever I'm thinking, if I got stuff on my mind, go there. You're basically hitting all your anger, getting all your emotions out. And, it's almost a stress relief in a sense. And then I've definitely learned the social aspect of the game within the past, few years, especially working at the golf course. And so it definitely gave me a new community to just, play and have fun with. And yeah, and it makes your day really, because, you're out there to laugh and joke and be competitive and just take your mind off things. Yeah.
So you say, I like that. It's been your safe place. Mm-hmm. Now, when you say that it's been your safe place, I know you've had some success. You've won 4 STP. Help me out
STPG.
Here. There you go. All right. I'm like, I know there's so many letters. I was like, there's so many letters.
A whole alphabet.
And that's helped you. That's been kind of your staple when speaking with Robert and speaking with other people in the game of golf that are familiar with junior golfers, that they really like that you have such a great fun-loving attitude. At the same time, you can really grind things out, and you can really kind of kick in that extra gear and need be. Now, what were some of the things that, because I know your dad being an instructor, what were some of the things that your dad kind of instilled with you instructing? Because I know we'll get to some of the personal stuff that you spoke to me about in regards to your dad, but what were some of the things that your dad instilled to you on the golf side?
I mean, my dad, he was my coach, obviously, for quite a few years. And, all my life, basically, he was my siblings' coach. And so not only did he introduce me to golf, and I know I would not have gotten into golf if it wasn't for him. And he built up a basic, good, solid golf swing, a real foundation for it, from, the etiquette, the swing. And it's really a good bonding experience, especially with him. We'll probably play golf forever together. And yeah, and so in terms of helping me, he basically built it. I mean, he helps me with his job in golf. I see, especially wanting to go into college, I see the business aspect of it, which I find very fascinating and interesting. So he's definitely inspired, I see, a career out of it.
Now, how long has your dad been involved in the business side for the game of golf? Mm-hmm. And what does he do? Why don't you tell everybody his role?
So originally we're from Warner Robins, Georgia, and so that's where he grew up, born and raised, and he played golf all through college and everything on scholarship, and then started running golf courses, in fact, and then the Air Force actually hired him to run the golf course there at Warner Robins Air Force Base. And so, he was basically the main manager there. And then he soon, got promoted and went to different golf courses. Then he went to the headquarters and was over golf and aero clubs and bowling, like all kind of recreational kind of things. And so, with that, I kind of moved around, not as much as my siblings, but that took us to Dayton, Ohio, where he was at Wright Pat Air Force Base and was in the headquarters there. And then we got moved here. And now he's a branch chief that overlooks more than just golf, but he specializes in it. So, and then he does U.S. Kids like clinics at Fort Sam and stuff. And so, he still teaches, and he loves it. It's definitely more of a passion than a job.
Oh, that's good. I like that. I like to think that. I think for teaching and coaching for 15 years, I enjoy going to work. I mean, I'm not going to lie. It's hard waking up in the morning.
He doesn't like the emails, but when they talk golf, he
there you go, right? See, that's what I'm saying. If I were able to roll out of bed and maybe get there at 10:30, 11, oh my gosh, you'd have a happy coach every day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Now, in your dad's role as in coaching junior golf, did that kind of spark for you? Was that a bit of a spark for you that you saw that you could have a career later on? Or because from what I hear from Robert and what I hear from the people there at Fort Sam is that you're great with kids, you're great with the junior golfers, and I love to hear that from all of the studs that I've spoken to, and I've spoke to their coaches or people that know them, that it seems like all of these great players and great golfers are truly paying it forward to the younger generation that is like next up.
Yeah, so it's probably because they think I'm the same height as them. I'm probably very approachable.
We looked eye to eye, okay? Don't get me started on height, all right?
I'm very approachable, apparently. No, but in all honesty, like I said, I got injured in soccer, and that's kind of when I made the switch to golf. And I'll be honest with you, it was a hard switch. I wasn't exactly in love with golf at that moment. I definitely have naturally grown my love for the game, and starting, freshman year, I'm like, well, what am I going to do for college? I'm not going to play soccer. What am I going to do? I know I want to play sports. That's always been a dream of mine, is to be on scholarship. And let's be real, that's a good way to pay for college too. So, I basically just worked really hard to kind of get to where I was in my swing, because I was kind of late to the game than some of, other people that are, been playing since they were really little. And so then now being able to work with juniors and stuff, it makes it more enjoyable. And you just, seeing their happiness is kind of like, man, I should be really happy with where I'm at and the growth I've been, because I mean, these kids have their whole, years ahead of them. And it makes me feel old. And two, I'm like, it's just cute seeing, all their happiness, and it really rubs off on you.
I truly agree with that. I was talking with somebody today about how I was having a bad day, and as soon as my kids walking through the door, I'm just like, dang, they turn it around. They turn it around for me so quick,
and they are so funny. I mean, they're some of the cockiest people I've ever, like, littlest kids ever, but they don't know it, and they're just like, we'll teach them later. Enjoy it now.
It's so funny because I like to keep it real with my kids. Like, they walk in and they're like, Coach, or it'll be like Vision Day or whatever. And as you can see right here, I don't know, my camera. There you go. I got Rowdy right here behind me, and they'll come in wearing like an A&M shirt or like a UT shirt, and like, Coach, do you like my shirt? And I'm just like, no, I don't. And then I'll see somebody else. I'll see somebody else come in with a UTSA shirt, and I'm like, oh, I love your shirt. I love your shirt. And they're like, really, Coach, you like their shirt? And I said, yeah, because that's my college. And they're like, oh, I said, hey, Coach is going to keep it real with you, okay? I was like, your other teachers might lie to you. It was like, but I'm not.
Hey, there you go.
Right, and that's why my show's called Nothing is OB. It's just because I'm like, you know what? Hey, we're gonna go out of bounds. So because nothing is OB, nothing. Right? You're gonna play from anywhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, in meeting your instructor, Robert, what really kind of led you to work with him? Because he's a great guy, and I've seen him all over the place. I've seen him. I couldn't remember before we actually spoke on the podcast. I couldn't remember where I saw him or what course. And I know he worked at Mac Wiley, or it was Alamo Golf Club, and that's really close to me, under Mac Wiley, and that's really who his mentor was, and that it made a lot of sense. And so, what really kind of drew y'all together, or what, how did that happen?
I mean, so I know he's talked about. I had a teammate, Jordan, who had him for an instructor, and when I would go out to Fort Sam with my dad before I ever worked there, I would see both of them, sitting in the pro shop, and that's how I knew of him, right? And so then fast forward, I get hired for a summer job there, and here I am 2 years later, and it's so hard. Like, I can never remember the conversation or how I was like, hey, can I have a lesson? But working there, I would practice on my downtime or when I had a break. And I think I definitely know he was watching. And then, I would go into the pro shop and I would sit down and, be in the AC. It's Texas heat, right? And so then I just kept talking to him about golf swing. He just conversation. And then I was like, lessons with my dad aren't really working out. So,
now, why were they not working out? My daughter has trouble taking instruction from me, but why? Tell me why. What was the big?
Okay, I love my dad, but we're just very different players. Okay, and we just butt heads. Let's be honest, it's your dad. And so he obviously wants you to be perfect. And with a PGA background, even more so. And so, I just got to where I couldn't take it. And, I didn't want that to like ruin or be a bad thing in our relationship together, because golf is supposed to be something, memorable for us. And that's where we bond, right? And I feel like, having that ruined at all. And so then it was kind of like a mutual agreement between my dad and I, and he was like, yeah, go for it, ask Robert. And it's been great.
Now it seems like having you watch Robert, give me some tips and kind of clean some things up with my swing. He made me a believer. I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm a true believer in how he teaches and how he communicates. And because it was a matter of like 15, 20 minutes. He had me rotating better. He had me finishing higher. He had me making better, more. I was compressing the ball. It sounded great. And I was just like, dude, I hate you. Like,
yeah, it's annoying. It's really annoying.
Because he knows what he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. And he just, and like, what was it? Like yesterday I was out there and he just, I don't know if you saw, but like where you put the balls, that like tray, he just moved in. It was like now a tool. And I'm like, why have I never seen this? And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Y'all are dumb. He's like, y'all didn't know this was there for that reason? I'm like, no.
So he's really good. I know firsthand. And he truly did work with me, for 15, 20 minutes and gave me a lot to ponder. And I'm just like, I'm about to leave to Vegas next week for a 3-day tournament. And I'm like, dude, this is not what I need. My game was manageable. However whack my swing was, my game was manageable. And now he's got me like looking like I'd like to look at my swing now. Now I'm filming myself. I'm doing mirror work. And I'm like, dude, I look like a real golfer now.
And I told you, like, it's you get that feeling, and then you're like, oh, this doesn't compare to it. This isn't it. And then you just keep working for it. He's the reason for that. So it's a new obsession, apparently.
So what's your role, or what's your job title there at Fort Sam?
So I'm just a cart recreation aide, basically. I'm at the bottom, which is good. I see all aspects of the golf course. And, Yeah, so I basically take a cart, I clean it, I wash it, I park it, I lock it, and then but they did train me on Pro Shop, so I do get to do that occasionally, which is more frustrating than you would think, especially with it being a military golf course. Yeah, it's just but it's fun. I love it.
Craziest thing you've seen in your time working on the course?
So as the cart person, I have to go if there's any problem on the course. I technically am the first to go out there, depending on the problem. And number 4 on Salado, you go down a really steep dog right like path bridge kind of. It leads to a bridge, and somebody apparently when they were going to the bridge. Or they were on the bridge. I don't know what happened. They turned. I don't know how this is possible physically after seeing pictures, but they crashed their cart into a ditch, and I had to go out there and look at it and take pictures. And it was just like I don't understand how it was able to get turned at like this certain angle. It was almost like here's the like ditch, and it like skids sideways, which I don't know how that's possible, but apparently it is. So I still got pictures as proof. That was definitely crazy.
Now I got right here. Felipe Keynes, strangest thing you found in a cart.
Strangest thing.
That's a good question. I was like,
it really is. That is hard. Because at that point I just throw it away. Anyway,
well, see, I'm a scavenger. Like, so I'm like, so I'm like one of these people that as I'm walking past the golf carts, I'd like to look and see, is there a Pro V1 in that little case? Or
golf balls? Yes, I definitely have gotten like a shag bag now just from working there. It's like the other day, somebody left like a whole sleeve of brand new Pro V1s. And I'm like, well, they're not coming back. I'll just keep them if they, don't want to come back. And then, a lot of times we'll have stuff like lost and found and sunglasses, and, they're probably not worth it to the person to like drive all the way back or whatever. So I get a free pair of sunglasses. And the weirdest thing, there's been, one of a good member that always plays there, he left his hearing aid in there, which is just odd to find. And it's like, I think you need this. I'm not quite sure.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one. Now, as throughout your time there, have you ever had an issue with, since it is a military base, have you ever had issues with some of the members there just like giving you crap or giving you a hard time because you are a young girl in, for the most part, like a male? I mean, this is a military base. This is a military base. Have they given you a hard time, or has, I guess, do a lot of people know you there because of your dad, or what?
Yeah, I mean, definitely with the dad part, they obviously word got around soon. And I feel like, and a lot of who I work with, they're middle-aged, been working there for 30 years. And I think it was nice for them because they were like, a young person, like they can do some more work or whatever. And then they're like, oh, she's a girl. And they're like, okay. And but with the members, I mean, they're so nice to me, and like I think that's a big reason why I just love working there. I obviously, I don't get paid that much, but the people are wonderful, and the golf, and they basically treat me like I was their daughter or their granddaughter, and they're more on my side, and they're like, don't work her too hard, like I spend a lot of time just talking to people, so. Oh, I think you're muted.
There you go. Like I told Robert once when we were done speaking, you and I were done speaking, I said, man, for an 18-year-old young girl, I said, man, she's very well spoken. She could carry a conversation, because I was just like, you know what? I was like, I had to meet with you before. I said, I don't know. I said, I don't know if it's gonna work. I know a lot of high school kids, and I'm just like, they're not very well polished. But I'm going to tell you, it seems like you do come from a good background, a good family, and you are very well polished, and you carry yourself very well.
Mhm.
And I really think I was putting a lot better than you were that day when we were on the putting green. I just
I
wanted
mean,
to
I'm
let
not gonna
you know
deny it.
that.
It's been that's definitely been what I'm working on right now.
Well, now
Let's just say I was distracted and trying to,
that's right.
talk. Yeah.
That's true. That's true. Because normally you don't
Mhm.
talk while you're putting, right? You really don't, or people don't talk while you're putting. Now, a good thing is that you do have a lot of free golf when you're working out the course.
Mhm, mhm. Yeah, so like I said, depending on the day, if it's kind of laid back or it's, not good weather, like I'll definitely have a lot of free time to just go chip around. Like, number 9 is right next to the cart barn. So, I'll just have my wedge there and while I'm waiting for carts. Because I mean my job when the carts kind of come in waves, so sometimes you're not, you're just waiting. And so I'll be on number 9 just chipping or working on bunkers or just putting. Yeah, or I'll be in the pro shop talking to Robert about my swing and just I found a lot of ways to just practice and or I'll do homework. Like that was a big thing is I work pretty much weekends and now a few days during the week. So keeping up with my schoolwork, I'll do some of that and I'll go inside, hook my laptop up and just chill and get some work done.
Now, through your time on the golf course, one thing that really kind of drew me to you outside of Robert being your coach is that I saw that for your training, you were doing some Mach 3 training out at Michael Romanowski's place,
Yeah.
along with Jeff Young and Sarah White.
Mhm.
'Cause I got right here. You can't see the name, but I got Jeff Young with a thumbs up, golf,
Eh,
and a pound right
mhm.
there. So how is it working with Mach 3 and with those guys out there?
Oh, it was definitely new for me. Obviously, I'd never done any speed related training before, and just realizing you have muscles that you can use was really good, and and especially like the road tag. Oh my gosh, I love that stuff. It'll stretch you more than you ever thought was physically possible for yourself. And I mean, I definitely saw the results soon after, and they definitely reflected in my swing. That was probably I would say my best year peak of golf at that point because I was actually leading up to a golf tryout for my college coach where I now signed, and so I was just trying to get some speed and it was a good way to like have a workout and golf related. And I had teammates that went to Jeff and went to the trainings, and they said good things about it. I'd heard it, I'd seen it on social media, and I wanted to give it a try. Robert and I talked about it, and I liked having him there too. And we made it kind of a competition, so it was really fun. And yeah, so I really love it. I'm actually gonna get started going back and kind of get some distance for college, hopefully.
Me too. I can't wait. It's just the only class I can really take is their 5:30 a.m. class, and it makes it a little bit difficult, having to take the kids to school and then
Oh yeah.
myself. And so when the summer hits, when June hits, I'm gonna be in there. I am gonna be in there because I've only gotten to take some classes here or there, but I do truly believe in what they're doing and what they're
Mhm.
selling, and especially now with everybody wants the distance. Everybody is like so hungry for the distance right now,
Mhm.
especially when you have Bryson. Even Rory
Oh yeah.
McIlroy. Even Rory McIlroy said it the other day that he felt like he's gotten himself out of his game because he's chasing Bryson. He's chasing the distance.
Right. And kind of going off of that, it was nice having something that felt like you were working out. I mean, I would be so tired after it, just from swinging a driver and stretching and doing just uh, agility kind of drills and it from a person when I swing I like to control my swing, and so them just being like just let go, relax, and swing hard, swing fast, and I was like I don't know where this ball is going. I don't know how I feel about this, and so that really helped me mentally just trusting my swing.
I totally agree with you. It's kind of trusting in what because they have some weird, crazy designs, designed apparatuses and, materials and stuff, but they truly get the results and they get the job done. And I know Jeff pretty well. I constantly see him on the course. We're in the golf fellowship together. And I mean, he can wail. I mean, he can wail. And also he's a great guy. And so you really, truly are working with good people. And especially, I'm sure that helps as your instructor, because I'm sure a lot of people can say no. When you're like a certain age, you can't gain speed, but it doesn't matter. Anybody that walks through their doors are constantly gaining speed.
And let's face it, like being 5 foot, like that's what I need. You know, I'm obviously not going to hit a growth spurt. Yeah, so it was really nice. And then, like you said, I just got busy and went and did that tryout. And, it was great. Obviously, I signed with the college. So I think that definitely helped contribute to that.
So now tell us a bit about being recruited or getting recruited, especially during a COVID time, which I know could make things a little bit difficult from what I'm hearing from a lot of student athletes that are trying to get recruited, and that even those that are in college. How did that make it a little bit maybe more difficult for you?
It was no, you're good. It was super frustrating, honestly, at first, because one, it's just a hard process to get going. You got to figure out, what do I want? Where do I see myself? And then you're like, all right, well, who wants me? And then, obviously I kind of knew a location, which was kind of East Coast is where I was ideally looking. And then, you narrow it down, and there's also, a mindset where like, I'll just kind of go with anybody that kind of, what are they going to offer? Right. And with COVID being in effect, they obviously a lot of players had another year of eligibility, and it's like, okay, well, I wanted to go to the school, but they don't need any players. Their roster's already filled. They have returning seniors, and so it was just frustrating, kind of finding what schools were available, sending out the emails, getting in, communicating, because NCAA didn't allow. Like, you couldn't really meet in person, obviously. So that was kind of tricky. And so when I went to North Carolina, I was actually on vacation. And then, I had never been in contact with Queens. I sent a couple emails, wasn't, no luck. I didn't know where I wanted to go. I had a few other options that, were backup plans, but Queens ideally was one of my top two, probably. And
who was the other?
I really wanted UNC Charlotte, which was hard. I mean, that was D1 right there too, which, I mean, technically it's like 15 minutes away. So, so yeah, but I had a school in Iowa that was ideally my second option. And then I had the Citadel, which is where my sister went, which is also a military college.
Yep,
so
military. That's right.
That was kind of the only thing I was like, I don't know. And so, but with COVID, we obviously couldn't meet. She couldn't see me golf. So it was all, virtual, like, here's some golf swings. But then it's like, well, does she always swing like that? It's not like she could see me in a tournament and see how I really do under pressure and who I am. And so I actually did get to thankfully meet her and just talk to her, which was really great. It was just kind of a spontaneous thing. Like I said, I was on vacation and I was like, hey, I just want to go down to the college to look at the campus and see how it is. And then I sent one email and I was like, hey, I'm here. We haven't been in contact. And then she called me within driving down the road. And I was like, well, great. And I couldn't get a tour or anything. And then she got me all hooked up with the school. So, yeah.
That's great. It kind of seems like maybe it was God's plan, And
I really, reflecting on it, I'm seeing signs that, yes, it is. It's honestly kind of funny. My brother and sister both went to different colleges, one in Charleston, South Carolina, one in Charleston, West Virginia. And now I'm going to Charlotte. So it's kind of the oddball, but still with the trend.
There you go. Yeah. Not the male side, but Charlotte,
right.
Version of the name. Now,
Close
in,
enough.
in speaking with you previously, you stated to me that you hope to have like almost like a lifelong career in this game. Now, I got again, Felipe Keynes asked, have you decided your major in college?
Yes. So definitely along the business management side. I'm thinking more maybe minoring in marketing. I like the creative aspect of that while also being, in the business analytical part. Um, and like I said, that's why I love working at the golf course and like seeing how things run. And I like, success and helping things be successful. So I think business is where my mind's at.
All right. Now, in relation to your golf game, what is the biggest part of your game that you are constantly working on currently right now?
Right now would be kind of mentally because and also my putting. Which my putting actually wasn't always a problem, which is why it gets to be one of your kind of one of your best parts of your game, and you kind of slack off practicing with it, and then it becomes one of your worst. And so you're like, well, I guess I gotta work at it again. And then with mental aspects, I mean, you just kind of get some bad breaks in some tournaments, and you kind of get into a funk. And I think I'm definitely trying to get out of that after high school season ended, and and just mentally preparing for college, because that obviously is a whole new field. And it's like, all right, well, we kind of have to leave what's happened in the past with high school or junior tournaments, and really look upwards to the new level.
Now, tell me, how did your high school career finish?
Yeah, so definitely not the way I wanted it to go. So we had well, first of all, a lot of our tournaments did get canceled just because COVID obviously is still a thing, and we were supposed to have one travel tournament, which we were so happy that got scheduled, and then about a month or two before, they canceled it and said we can't leave San Antonio. So that was really sad. And that was honestly a really good bonding kind of trip for us as a team, and so it was really sad to not be able to do that. And then going into some of our last tournaments were honestly, they just weren't the best tournaments, because at that point our coaches were trying to get us in whenever they could, right? And so, I mean, I got put in some really JV kind of low tournaments. And it's just, having a 6-hour round is just very frustrating, because you're like, you just lose mentally. You're like not even there to play golf. You're like, I want this round to be over. This is taking forever. And then you just slack off, and you end up not even shooting well when you should, theoretically be winning. And but going into districts and everything, we had a preview a couple weeks ago at our districts was at BRAC, and we had a preview about 3 days before district started. It was that weekend before, and I placed second. I played really great, especially for the weather conditions. It was kind of just windy and kind of cloudy and everything. And I thought I played great, especially because I wasn't feeling at my best going into the tournaments. I was at San Pedro every night, just trying to get a swing feeling going into it, because that is probably the worst feeling in golf, is not knowing your swing and what you're going to take. And so I just wanted to be sure of that. And so I ended up tying for second with a 72-75. So about a 3 over, I guess, for the tournament. So I felt really good going to districts. And then districts came, and we had that really big gust of wind that was there. And, I shot 79, which really wasn't bad for the conditions. And that put me at like third, I guess, which, that just tells you kind of how it affected everyone. And going into my last day, it was just kind of sad because, now reflecting about it, like I didn't have it in my head that was going to be my last tournament for high school and with my team. And, I started off good, and then you just kind of get to where, I missed that par putt, and then, or I didn't make that up and down. And then it was funny because I actually played better in a, like 20 miles per hour wind than on a sunny, clear day. And so I ended up shooting like 80, 86, and missing the cut for regionals. But, that last 9 is where I should have, picked myself up and mentally just kind of got into it. The game wasn't over. And it just felt like things weren't going right. And sometimes that happens, that's golf for you. You can play a perfect round. Like I lost a ball in a tree. How do you do that? I'm not saying it was a good swing, but it could have been a lot better. It was yeah.
So how are you going to be able to in the future dig yourself out of these holes? How do you think?
Well, honestly, you just gotta keep going. You just can't think about it that long after. I'm blessed enough to be able to know that my golf career wasn't over at this point. Like I have a whole new journey ahead of me. And it's like, the way Robert and I kind of talked about it, I was really heartbroken about it, obviously. Just because I felt like everyone expected this from me and I expected it for myself. It was a goal of mine to, be the Churchill kid that got out, right? And not having that happen was really devastating, but it's, that it's not the end for me. And I know where to work on. It was a good lesson learned. I feel like I finally experienced an adrenaline rush because I wanted to win so bad or to get out. And, sometimes you're like, whoa, like we still have to play. We, calm down. And you just kind of get ahead of yourself. And that was the issue.
Now, as a coach, you always say, you got to say some things. I always say a quote before every practice to my kids. Mm-hmm. And I always tell them, I want you to tell me, how do you think it applies to you? Or I kind of ask them at the end of practice that they have to remember it. If not, they're doing some gassers, they're running, they're doing some suicide, something, yeah. Right? And one of the things that, one of the quotes I always tell them, I said, even though you lost the game, it's not a loss if you learn. And it seems like you needed to kind of have some of these failures so you can understand and be able to taste some of these successes. And I know that's something that, like you said, you got that adrenaline rush, and you really need to put yourself into more of those situations. Like I remember in speaking with you, you told me that one of the first times you played in the amateur city championship, I guess you stepped on the tee box with who? Who did you play?
Yeah, so my first time, obviously wasn't as good of a golfer back then, and first city tournament, and my dad goes, yeah, you're paired with the defending champion. And I go, great. And Cameron, like, shout out to you because you were just so inspiring to watch. And, I follow her on, UTSA right now, and just seeing her journey, and she is so chill and just so sweet. And I told you, it's just so hard not to like her. You're like, here I am struggling to make a bogey, and she's made a 60-foot putt for a birdie, and I'm like, it's just so hard not to like you.
Well, so at that time, I guess, was she like the 2-time defending champ, or just the defending champ at that time?
Yeah, so that was her second win, because she ended up winning. And then she went back the third year to win again, and then she won the women's recently. So, she's obviously doing the right things. And so playing with her, it was like, I want to be like that. I know what I got to do. And I feel like I worked really hard, and now I'm like playing with people just like her, and I'm like, man, I can compete with these people. It's it's kind of eye opening.
And that's great. That's great to hear that, because she was a guest like yourself. Yeah. She was a guest on the show, and it's great to hear that. Not only are you hearing great things about it from their from their golf instructors, from the people that are around them, but also their opponents. Now, did you have any big rival during your high school or during your junior golf days? Did you have anybody that you just constantly wanted to beat? It's okay
I
because
mean,
remember, because once you put it, it's okay because once you put it on the internet, it
they're gonna
stays
know.
here. It stays.
Yeah,
It
I
stays
get
here
you.
for sure.
I get you. Man, biggest rival. I feel like it was always changing just because, you get better and they get better. And it's just like, I wasn't worrying about this person and now I'm worrying about them. But I would say as a high school team, our biggest rivals were Johnson and now it's Reagan, which Reagan, they just won regionals and district. So they're on a roll to state and it's really awesome watching them. But Johnson was definitely our rival in terms of team. And yeah, it's kind of funny because you're friends outside of, before that tee time. And then once you're on that tee box, it's like, we're enemies now. So can't really talk to you.
Now I got right here from your coach.
Yeah.
Question: Is Chick-fil-A a drug to you? Now, what does this have to do with it? Don't get me wrong. I love me some Chick-fil-A, especially I want Chick-fil-A, especially on Sundays.
Okay, that's pretty true. I do have a funny story about that.
Hit me.
So yeah, Chick-fil-A is like honestly my favorite. That's what I get on every tournament.
Okay. It is. It's so
it's a
good.
drug. Yeah, it's bad. Yeah. But the drug part comes from a TikTok I sent him because it just described me. It was literally like a drug deal going out for a Chick-fil-A order on a Sunday. Like you said, you crave it on Sundays, and yeah. So he knows Chick-fil-A is my weak spot. I get the same thing every time, and they laugh at me.
What is it? The number one, the chicken.
No, I'm actually chicken nuggets. Like I'm not really a sandwich person.
I love a little chicken nugget. Me too.
But the thing is, like their barbecue sauce, perfect. I dip my fries in it, like everything. I'm definitely that person to be like, I need like 4 of them.
Oh, I hate people like you. I do. I hate people like.
I like a little chicken with my sauce.
That is true. Yeah, right. Or it's the other way. It's supposed to be the other way around. Well, see, I'm an old school guy. I don't need any sauce. I need no sauce. I know because you know what? I grew up Chick-fil-A. Like you're 18 years old. I'm 41 years old. So I grew up. Chick-fil-A was a little bit different as I was growing up. One of my good buddies, his name is Ray Tapia, in Corpus Christi. That was when Chick-fil-A was it was weird. It was kind of just like very, very generic, like the little C for Chick-fil-A. It was very weird. Like they were just white and red, right? And so he was working there in high school, and he'd be like, "Hey, man, come by, whenever you're at the mall." And it was so funny because his manager was working there at the time. It was a very small place in Chick-fil-A in the mall, and every time his manager he'd give me like an order. Every time he'd always tell me, "Hey, order like a kid's meal." Okay, so I'd pay like $2.99 or $3. His manager would turn her back. He would pull something off the line and stuff it in my bag, right? And I'm just like, dude, what's going on? And then, he'd just be like, oh, yeah, whatever. The manager would turn her back again. He'd take a thing of fries, dump them in my bag.
Like, I just got you a true Happy Meal.
I was like, for real. Like, he would fill up the whole bag full of nothing but fries for me.
Oh, my God.
And then he would fill up another whole bag with nothing but the chicken nuggets.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, funny story actually. My sister went to being in like the South in South Carolina. Obviously Chick-fil-A is like started I think in Georgia, honestly. Yeah, because we've been to the original one in Georgia. I'm a true lover, right? And she went to college with the grandson of the founder of Chick-fil-A. And I was like, you marry him right now. Because I need to be set up for life. You're set up for life. I'm set up for life. It's happy.
that is something good. I
never happened, so I hold it against her.
Who knows? There might be another great grand something later down the line.
Maybe I'll find them.
now that's right. Maybe they're in Charlotte, right? Maybe
is there another? Yeah.
All right. Now a little bit lighter side of golf. Favorite golf movie.
Growing up, my dad loved Caddyshack, so we always watched that, obviously. I'm a Disney person, so I love The Greatest Game with Shia LaBeouf because,
Francis.
It's Shiloh. Yeah.
Francis.
Oh my gosh, and that is such my person, mindset. And I just, even watching it, I watched it a couple weeks ago on Disney Plus, and when he hits that like basically shank and he's just like picks up the clubs and starts walking, like that's just how I play now. I'm like, he knows.
Okay, so tell me this, because as I've spoken with
Mm-hmm.
several golfers that are obviously way better than me and that are going
Mm-hmm.
into the game of golf as their profession,
Mm-hmm.
they always tell me, or they've told me on the regular, is that like his mindset, or how the director kind of directs the movie, or from his point of view, or his thought process, or how he sees things, and even how Harold Varden kind of sees things during that movie. They said that's kind of how it is when you're out there on the course, or when you need to get up and down, when you need to hit a shot,
Mm-hmm.
or when you're in the woods, you need to fit that ball between, the trees or something. Is that truly how it is when you're kind of zoned in, or like you're really kind of blocking everything out?
Oh yeah, depending on how you're playing, there's definitely a zone, and it's crazy. Like once you experience that, because it's really hard to describe, and you're just so focused, and things are really going right for you, and I can only imagine like for pros who make a living off of it. One wrong move and that's a couple thousand off of their winnings. So yeah, there's definitely a zone, and that's why it's nice to watch these movies.
I love it. That's one of my favorite movies, golf movies to watch. And
Yeah,
just the
that
story,
10 cup,
just the
yeah,
story. Hey, Tin Cup is Texas. Tin Cup is Texas. Texas golf.
yes,
I mean, it's
it
not.
shows you.
I think it's West Texas golf. It's not the golf that I'm used to. I'm South Texas golf. All right. Favorite LPGA player.
Oh, Lydia Ko by far, easy.
Oh, you just saying that
And
because you just won. That's why
no,
you're saying
no,
that. And
no.
because she's
I mean, I
young.
loved
Because
her
she's young. That's
before.
why you're saying that
She
too.
is she's so cool. But there are some like rising LPGAs that I've started to really follow. Like, Maria Fossey is, she's
Oh,
kind of,
she's a stud.
yes,
Stud.
and like just because I watched her in the college match play, and that's where I found her, and just her aesthetic. Like I feel like I just relate to her. Like just being there, she kills me with like her aviators, just chilling,
Right, man.
like it's nothing.
It's kind of Phil
It really
Mickelson-ish,
is, yeah.
right? You know,
Mhm.
it's just it's too
Like
cool.
you said, a
I can't
stud,
wear them.
yeah.
It's too cool. I can't wear them. I got a fat face, and so it makes my face look even more round. So I said I have to wear boxy sunglasses to, like, my
Mhm.
face isn't that round, which really it is. All right, I got a good question right here. Right here. Okay, this is from Jeff Young. Ask Liv if the guys made her change tees in their game once she started speed training. Ooh, that's a good question.
That is a good try. Okay, so honestly, they made me change them before speed training, as because I inched my way back. And but once I got to speed training, they were like, "Yeah, you play these from now on, every day, all the time, forever." And it wasn't something I could go back on. And then for high school, I actually started when some of my teammates weren't there, I would actually play with the guys a little bit from the tips, and I was like, this actually isn't that bad.
Okay,
I mean, yeah, it's longer, but you're just
any
taking a different
gambling,
goal.
any gambling going on out there?
Not really, no.
I
Maybe
don't
for
know.
Chick-fil-A. We do gamble for food, that is for sure. It's more of a I buy you fly kind of thing.
Okay, that's fair, pretty
Yeah.
fair. Now I got a question right here. What is your thought process as you get ready to drive the ball?
My thought process. Like I said, especially from mock, like the faster you go, the straighter it's gonna be. And I kind of like now that I'm watching, PGA more and the pros. I mean, they don't care where the ball is going. They're swinging fast and hard. And even if I go OB or something, I want them to be like, man, that was a fast swing. That was a good swing. And so yeah, I take a practice swing, feel my positions, and then I really just go. I try to think it's just like any other tee shot, even if it's not that great. Oh well, I know what to do on the next hole.
Most memorable golf memory?
Um, it was my first playoff, and I won it with a birdie. Actually, it was out at Fort Sam. So ideally I was like, man, I should win this. I work here, right? And the girl I was playing with, she was really good. She kind of was at that same caliber as me, and so it was very even going into it. She actually eagled the last hole to tie me, and I was like, you can't complain with that because I mean, you know. And so we go up to number one, and I'm like, first of all, I don't feel like playing another hole. And so I was like, man, I just gotta win this hole. And so we hit beautiful drives right down the center. And then she kind of windish. She hit a high shot and it basically got blown left, went off the green. And I knew she would have to make an up down if I got on the green.
What hole was this?
Number one, Loma.
What course? Okay, Loma.
Yeah, Fort Sam. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So that was the playoff hole one?
Yes, because I mean we had finished. We started on 10, and so we finished on 9, and then they were like, "All right, just play again."
You're right there. That makes sense.
But if we had tied, they were going to be like, "All right, play number 9, and then just keep going in a circle." So I was like, "Yeah, I don't really want to do that." And so
why don't you just do that every time?
Yeah, right. And so I go into it and I'm like, okay, Liv, just swing normal. You play here every day. It's nothing new to you. I had obviously the advantage. I knew how the greens worked. I knew where the break wasn't because it doesn't break. And so I stuck, I remember it so vividly. I stuck a 6-iron in just because it was into the wind.
What was the yardage? What was the yardage you had up?
It was probably 130, but with the wind, 135, but with the wind, it was playing probably like 140-ish, I would say. And I just kind of hit a low, pure shot, right? And those tend to obviously be my best. So I stuck it within probably 3 feet of it. But I was on the high side. And so I was like, okay, well, I just, at that point, I just wanted to make the putt. I didn't care if it went past. If it the speed was off, I didn't care. I just wanted to make the putt. And she made a good chip. She had, she was still out, so she made her putt and she missed it. And I was like, she still had her putt for par, but she made it. And I said, okay, I have to make this to win. And I was like, I've hit this putt God knows how many times before, and I need to make it right now. And sure enough, it was right in the center. And obviously with COVID, we had the little noodles, and it just hit the noodle. And went, poof.
Okay, now getting to that, I mean, you signed with Queen's University, so you're going to be a collegiate golfer. You've played so many golf events. You work at a damn golf course. Now, what are the rules if somebody hits a putt or somebody's making a chip off of it, and during this COVID time that it goes in, hits that noodle, and goes out? What's the call?
At first, it also depends on how the noodle is cut. Like if it's half the cut.
I've seen some that are
some are high.
Some are high, and then some are low, and then some are at an angle. Some I'm like, who cut this thing? Like a 5-year-old?
And actually that happened at Brack while we were in district. Our coaches had to stop us, and they were like, they had to take the cup out and redo it because I guess at Brack they do a liner or something in the cup, and it was sticking up, and they were like, yeah, the first 3 groups, they were missing 1-foot putts because it hit that thing and just bounced over the hole.
Damn,
and so they basically had to give. Well, I hope they gave it to them because it was, you could see it, and so they stopped us and they were like, don't hit it yet. But yeah, at first it was Prestige Tour wanted them hold out and sitting there, which factored into your speed because you were like, well, I can't risk it bouncing out. At the beginning of the junior tour, they were like, if it hits the noodle, and the noodle cost it wasn't like it hit the pin and bounced out and had nothing to do with the cup, then it was considered hold. And especially for chipping, I would say, where you're kind of getting that momentum and it has to hit it, I would count those, honestly. I tend to count those.
We'll see on Sunday. We were at Mission Del Lago. I'm sure you've played Mission Del Lago.
I have not.
What? No way. Oh, you haven't lived. No, I'm just playing.
Okay.
Okay, so we're at Mission del Lago, and it's one of the Alamo City golf trail courses.
Okay, yeah.
And we are on the front. I think it's hole 5. I believe it's hole 5. Yes, hole 5. It's a par 3, and it was playing at about 165 out. Well, my buddy puts one right. I mean, has the right on the number, right on line. It bounces, like I say, 2 feet before the hole, goes in the hole. It's like it almost seemed like a second, and then it comes back out. And we're like, no way. And we're like, dude, it was because of the noodle. But they didn't have the noodle. What they had was that little PVC pipe.
The PVC. Oh, that's the worst.
Because at least the noodle will at least cushion some of that impact.
Yeah.
Right? And then in that PVC pipe, it's just
that's like hitting the flag stick.
Yeah, it is. It is. And you know what? And that really stinks. Now, for me, having to constantly leave the flag stick in during this COVID time, I do not feel comfortable pulling the flag out when you're at certain courses. And I'm like, and I hate it when everybody else, boom, just pulls it out like nothing. I remember the first time they did that, and I'm just like, can you do that?
Yeah, and I always feel rude because I'm like, I forget to ask, like, do you need it tended? And I'm like, just standing there, and I'm like what do you want? And they're like, can you pull it? I'm like, oh, sorry.
I know, and you feel like the jerk. You're like,
or when they want it pulled, but you're like, yeah, and I'm like,
I don't want to touch it. I don't want to touch it.
And like, yeah, and it's definitely been especially at the last tournament, they kind of implemented that, and mainly because it got so frustrating because at Bragg, like everything kept hitting. I remember a girl I was playing with, God bless her, she was missing everything because of the flag stick. So she finally was so mad, she like ripped it out, and we were like, "Are we allowed to do that?"
Well, see, that happened to me at Fair Oaks Country Club, and I was playing there with my insurance agent. I really love my insurance agent because not only is he a State Farm agent, I love him. Is that once a month he likes to take me out for customer appreciation rounds, and I'm like, this is the only reason you're still my insurance agent is because of these customer appreciation rounds. And he takes me to like La Cantera. He takes me to his course, which is Fair Oaks Country Club. And so I'm like, okay, you keep giving me these rounds, these customer appreciation rounds. You're going to continually have my business, right? Well, as we're there at Fair Oaks. And again, I'm used to like, hey, just hitting the putt, fast and firm, and counting on that backboard to, hey, hit and bring the ball back in. Well, I guess that it's a different type of aluminum or metal or hard plastic, and so it's the kind where it truly reflects off of.
Yeah, it's like ricochets.
Yeah, it ricochets instead of it kind of just being like a backboard or deading the putt, right? And I am missing just putts left and right, and it made me sick. It made me sick.
Yeah, and that'll so get to you mentally. You're just
Okay, what's your go-to club?
Go-to club. Probably, I love my 56. Just because that's, especially like chipping and stuff. That's like I know all the shots I can create off of it. But if I just had to pick any, probably like my 9 or my 4-iron. Actually, lately it's been my 4-iron. I don't know why.
4-iron, damn.
Right? I know.
That's not a club. I can tell you where my 4-iron is. My 4-iron's in the corner over here in my room. I put it in the bag for one day. I had one good shot, one bad shot. It's back out again.
It's a timeout. My God.
Love hate.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see right here. Do you have a favorite? My wife gave me this question for my guest, and I love it, but sometimes I don't ask it. What's your go-to Tiger Sunday outfit? Like, what's your Sunday? Hey, Tiger's got the black pants, red shirt. The blood red. Yeah. What's your go-to?
It's honestly, it's been changing, obviously, just because you get new stuff. Honestly, I've never been like really into the girly golf skirts and stuff, but ever since being in high school and my teammates, they introduced me to like the Lululemon skirts, and I'm obsessed just because they're so comfortable and like just they're awesome. And so I'll probably wear one of those with like I tend to wear like blues. That's probably my favorite color to wear.
Well,
I don't know why.
and then I did see the school that you're going to. I saw
Yeah,
that.
it's blue,
Yeah, it's
right?
blue. Yeah, I saw
It
that.
is
And I
my
guess
favorite.
is it Bulldogs, right? Is that what they are? Or what
Uh,
are they?
they're the Royals, so they're
The
Lions.
Royals. It's right.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I saw that.
But
Okay.
actually, like navy blue is my favorite, and my sister's school actually was the Bulldogs, and they were blue, navy blue and white and everything, and so I stuck with that theme apparently.
See,
Yeah.
the school I teach at is our school colors are royal blue and red, and I'm just so
Hmm.
thankful because the school I was at before, our colors were gold and purple, and I'm just like, I hate LSU, and then
Yeah.
the freaking athletic director I worked for, he preferred the gold, and it was like a yellow gold more than the purple. So like a lot of things were in yellow, accented with purple, and I'm just like, why don't we make it mostly purple, accented with gold? You know,
Yeah,
like it just
and
drove me
Queens
nuts.
kind of has that. Like it's just kind of a minor school color, but it is supposed to be gold, and it's more of a champagne kind of color. But it looks nice, I guess.
Favorite course here in the South Texas San Antonio area?
Um, if I had to, if just nice course, it'd probably be the Quarry. I just loved it. I thought it was so beautiful, and it's just so well taken care of. I haven't been back since they've worked on it, but
It's very
also,
scenic. It's very
yeah.
scenic.
Oh my gosh, and Robert actually took me to this restaurant. Salada is like right on it.
Oh, that's a good place too.
And like you can just sit there and watch people chunk their shots and people watch, and it's so fun. It's like the best thing ever. It's like you're watching TV right there.
You probably saw
But
me
then
chunk one. I work right by the quarry, and so I've chunked a few out there.
haven't we all, honestly? And but if I had to play any day, it would probably be Brack. Through the good and the bad memories there. It's just such a good course.
I love Brack. It's such a charming course, and
it really is.
And I think I've said this to other people that have stated that Brackenridge Golf Course here in San Antonio, right in the downtown area, is one of their favorite courses. It's got a lot of charm, and you kind of feel like the spirits, like you feel like that old school golf,
yeah.
especially looking at the clubhouse, the little starter box, like you kind of feel like you get those feels and vibes that, the ghost of golf past are there.
Yeah, and like there's just so many funny memories. Like I was in a Swing for the Cure tournament, and like you have the new Shake Shack right there at the corner. And so during a round, this dad who was the dad of another girl I was playing with, he jumped the fence, went and got Shake Shack for us. It was like just so nonchalant and funny, and I was like, thanks. And then one of my teammates, when I was a sophomore, she was a senior, and her dad is the owner of, they're the founder of Belden Roofing Company. And they had a big billboard sign that you could see right off of the highway on 14. And I'm like, that's my teammate. And but now they don't have it, so it's kind of sad, and they're doing all the work on the highways.
Okay. Who are you playing your last round of golf with?
Like anybody. That's tough. It would have to be, definitely Rory. I love Rory.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, just that would be like, so I'd be so nervous, honestly. And I would love to play with Phil just because he's such like a mood, like he's just so casual. He would be fun just to have a conversation with. You gotta go with like Arnold Palmer, obviously, or one of the legends.
Now, do you have any questions for me?
No, I'm good. I mean, so you said you got that lesson, obviously. How did you play? Like, do you felt like it was better?
Well, it's just, I'm sure everything. It's funny because when I go to or I listen to people speak, especially like Mike with Mike with Mach 3, they always talk about muscle memory not being a real thing. That's one thing that you're constantly taught as you grow up as an athlete, and you hear from your coaches, oh, muscle memory. I went to this basketball camp when I was in high school, and the coach told us that, hey, if you're just doing what we did for 5 days it's not enough. You have to go out and do it for 9 more straight days, because they stated to me that if you did something 14 days in a row, it becomes a habit, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so they would say, oh, the muscle memory, your muscles need to remember the skill or the technique or whatever. And then I hear sometimes, and I don't know if I'm quoting it right, I hear there's no such thing as muscle memory. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I was like, this is all I know. I'm a coach. I constantly say this as a coach. I constantly say muscle memory. And so I feel like as I get more comfortable with the swing, because what Robert did for me is that what did he do? I guess he got me more upright, or what? Or
yeah,
what?
He just got you more on plane. You're just
My swing plane, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And he made it more like unique to like physically to you, which creds to him. He's so good at it. It's kind of frustrating.
He's awesome. He's awesome. And again, I'm a total believer that if people haven't had instruction before, and don't be too proud. Like, I think that's one of the things I've interviewed so many golf pros on here, and they're like, yeah, come see me. And I'm like this.
Yeah.
No. But I'm going to tell you, Robert really made it a lot easier, because I think the only other pro that I've had on the show and that I've kind of spoke to and had him kind of check out my swing was Ray Garza out of On Par Golf in Mission Del Lago. And it seems like all the great instructors, they just have a way of relating the information to you and the techniques. And it just, you can tell like Robert, like my friend Ray Garza, like I had the gentleman out of Briggs, Trevor Salzman. I had Dave Roberts on here. I had Carlos Brown. He's out of Academy in Irving, Texas. I've had Christy Cano on here. I have Arnie Martinez, the head coach at Our Lady of the Lake University. And you just kind of see that it's just about how you're able to communicate and relate that information.
Yeah, and I definitely agree, especially with my dad being my coach. I wasn't picking up what he was putting down, and it's just like, then you have Robert explain it. It's like, that's simple. Oh, okay. Don't ask questions, just do it. And I'm like, all right. Okay.
That's it.
Even now I'm still working on like the same things from the very first lesson. It's like, let's just remember our routine and the basics. And, obviously you just build off from there.
And so in what Robert taught me, I feel like it's going really well. I'm feeling more confident, because that's when it's kind of like when you go to a doctor when you're having a problem, or when you go to a dentist when a tooth's hurting you or something, right? And so I asked Robert, I said, hey, it was really convenient, because after we spoke, and I said, well, Robert, you're here. Could you check out my swing? And I feel like he gave me something to work on, and that I can kind of fix on my own and kind of make my corrections. Now, the last thing, what is probably the hardest thing that you've had to overcome to get to where you're at? Hey, a college signee, you're going to do what you love to do. What has been the most difficult thing that, for our listeners, for our viewers, that you want them to know that you had to deal with?
Honestly, like believing in myself. I think it's different hearing that, others believe in you, and you're like, well, thanks. And then, with certain, situations, like I said, I have split household, and, that's a very relatable thing, I suppose. And so I just kind of had to take that into consideration, especially, what I could do and what I couldn't do, and where I was, house-wise, and just putting in the work. I feel like that goes a lot further than, some results would show, obviously. And that definitely is the frustrating part of golf, is putting in the work and not seeing it pay off, but it's there, and it's just you gotta be patient sometimes.
Now, I really want to thank you for being on the show. I'm super excited for what your career has in store. I've been a big fan of yours, and I'm glad that all the positives that I heard from everybody is, that it's legit. and I wish you nothing but the best in your college career and what you do in between, in the summertime, upcoming summer, and going into your college career. Thank you for your continued support of the website, www.NothingisOBgolf.com, and the podcast. I'm so thankful. Please get it out, pump it out to any and everybody. Remember, in the game of life, nothing is OB.